Brodes Media.
The comeback, just a little short, unfortunately, but it was a very strong weekend. I was very proud of this club, and I love their fight to the very end. It does suck because I want to see them grab the sweep badly, and I want to see them give us that extra sweetener, because the name of the game is to always take 2 out of 3 whenever you get the chance, and when you do that, it's hard to be angry, but I want to see a different element from this group. I want to see them take 3, all 3 against a good team, just to give us more flavor, just to give us more juice, just to add more flair. Is that too much to ask? Now, I understand the circumstances are very difficult when you go down 7-1 and Ranger could barely pitch out of the stretch and he lost his command. It was rough. He was 6 feet off the plate a bunch of times. It was gross. It was really difficult to watch. So when you fall behind like that and then you have to rely on your bullpen to keep you in the game, which is always scary, they did it, which is nuts. But it's hard. It's hard to win that baseball game. And it sucks, but all around, I do take way more positives out of what they did, especially on Saturday. How about this? Let's start with this. This is where we should start because this guy deserves the most praise of the entire group. Aaron Nola! Are you fucking kidding me? 6 shotty! Didn't allow a homer. Oh, I'm told all he does is allow homers. And this is following that beautiful effort in Chicago where he went 7 and only allowed 1 earned run. He only walked 1 guy in Chicago. He only walked 1 guy against Arizona. This is his last couple of starts. And he did all this with a stiff neck. My man woke up. He probably got a little dirty in the sheets the night before with the missus. He probably went down and enjoyed a nice how do you do. And then before you know it, you wake up, oh, damn, I got a tight neck. I was going to town. I don't feel so good. But I got to take the ball anyway. All right, Topper, what do you need? Oh, what's that? We went 5 and I threw 95 pitches, but you want me to go more? Don't mind if I do. Don't mind if I go 109. My off speed is doing filthy things. My 2-seamer is catching the inside part of the dish to left-handed hitters. Oh, Nola! Nola was so good. How do you not enjoy yourself some Noles when he's ripping through the lineup? A damn good team, by the way. And that was for the series win. Following Friday night, where in the 7th inning, I thought the Phillies stole the game. They robbed them blind in daylight. Couple of big bombs, Kep, Schwarber. You blink, you take the lead, you shut the door, you get the win. I walked away Friday night saying, I don't know how the hell that happened, but I'll take it. Surely I will. How do they follow up that performance? Aaron Nola's A+. Aaron Nola's on his A game. And right from the 2nd inning, boom! Kick him in the testicles! You're up a few runs, JT. Now you're up 6. Then you go up 7. Through 4 innings or so, it's 7-0. That's what I'm talking about. And outside of the JT Realmuto ridiculous defensive effort game against the Dodgers earlier in the season, Saturday might have been my favorite game of the year. If they pulled off this comeback, it would have obviously been this one. But Saturday, through the meat and potatoes of the action, I was all on board. It got drawn out a little bit towards the end there because it was such a big lead. But when they established who they were on that given day and it was that sexy, I'm like, this is perfect. This is what I asked for. This is what I need. I loved it. Absolutely loved it. And you think about what went down on this Sunday. I almost need a couple of hours to process it. I mean, I'm really excited that Bryce was able to go opposite field and show off his power. It's been way too long since he hit a homer. But then the 10th comes around, and he's got the game on the line. And in the 9th inning, he also had a pretty big AB. Him and Trey swinging at a pitch that was over his damn head to strike out. Bryce is watching a pitch go down the plate there, and there's your first 2 outs of the inning. God bless this group, because I watched Bohm, I watched some of the other cats be able to produce on the base paths to keep you invested, to keep you involved, to push this things to extra innings. But for as great as Bryce was to show some life, because he's been down in the dumps, he's been looking terrible. He's having a misplay over at first base, and the ball's going right through him, and he just looks so out of the Bryce Harper norm that I am kind of confused on what's happening here. With all that going down, I finally see an opposite field bomb like that. I'm getting jolted. But then the 10th comes around. There's a few base runners on. This would have sent all of Philadelphia into another dimension if he was able to hit one to Mars. If he was able to torch one that was getting smoked to right field and it's going to the second deck. And that's something that makes you feel completely different on who this team is. That's something that could send everybody into a mental state that makes you really get sucked in and saying, holy shit, was that the turnaround? Was that the moment? Was that the at-bat? Was that the swing where we all formed together and realized, yup, yeah, we're taking this by the balls and we're going. We are seriously about to steamroll and piss on everybody. But no. And I needed Bryce to follow up that first at-bat of the game to add some more. I needed that. I did. Could you imagine? Knowing the struggles, there was a broadcast clip, and I forget which Kepler home run it was. It was either one of the 2 Kepler home runs, Schwarber's home run, or JT's home run. It was during either Friday or Saturday. I forget what game it was. But the broadcast showed the bench, and it was the moment they hit the bomb, and they're trotting around the bases a little bit, the team showing excitement, the ballpark's going crazy. Yo, Bryce Harper was staring into the abyss, not even paying attention. Now, truth be told, we all get that moment in life, right? Where you're just not really embracing what's going on around you. Then your wife probably says, hey, did you hear what I said? And then you lie and you go, oh, yeah, I heard what you said, babe. I heard what you said, hon. And then you go, what did I say? And then in the back of your mind, you're like, God damn it. Now I got to figure this thing out. You mentioned something that was 5 conversations ago, thinking maybe you might be on the money, or you pull it out of your rear end, you get it right, and then you take a deep breath. I don't know. But we've all zoned out before. But it's hard to imagine when your team is in the middle of a big series against the Diamondbacks, who you hate. And you're always going to have PTSD because of what went down a couple of playoff series ago. And one of your teammates rocks one. You think even if you are zoned out, the natural flow of the fans standing up and screaming and going nuts and going bonkers in the dugout. Everyone's leaving their feet, going up to the, to the railing there. You think you pop back into life. Nothing. Just staring like a zombie. And he's probably that lost. I didn't hear that clip of Taryn Hatcher until a couple of days ago on the NBC Sports Philly broadcast, where she was discussing how there were a bunch of different coaches who all got to choose their own version of a timing drill, and they all went to work with Bryce Harper, and they all got to do whatever they wanted, and he was just there doing what they wanted. And all these different coaches, all this information, all these timing drills, all getting flooded his way. Whoa. If Bryce is going to that extreme, whoa. Now, I'm just hoping the couple of hits that he showed prior to the 9th, prior to the 10th, could be something that could really snowball into us getting some life back out of Bryce, because you desperately need it. There's no doubt about it. Here's one thing that I'll say, though, and I don't think that this is ridiculous. They're sitting here now with, what is their record? Maybe 19-16 off the top of my head. They are hold on. No. They are 19-15. If Bryce Harper was to be, I'm not going to tell you Aaron Judge, okay, hitting 450. But if he was to be hitting 280 instead of flirting around 225, 230 or something along those lines, I don't think this team is much more than 19-15 to this point. I think that really does describe who they are and what they've done. And I don't think if he was a better version, like, I'm not giving this Phillies team 6 more wins, making them 25 and whatever it would be. They're not a 25-11 type of group because Bryce Harper's just not living up to his standard. Does that make sense? So no matter how they got here, I think what they show record-wise is probably a fair tell on who they are. It's just been a weird start on how they've gotten here, but I don't think the record poorly describes them. I think it perfectly kind of describes them. I think they're a 19-15 type of team. They always do things that aggravate me. Unfortunately, for as much as I do take away a bunch of positive stuff out of this series, like Knowles, like Luzardo, like he did on that Friday where he was battling, wasn't his best stuff, but how do you look on a day where you have some bases filled and occupied and there's traffic, and how do you dance around those innings while limiting the damage? There was so much good stuff here. There's always a few things that's just stupid, embarrassing, pathetic baseball. Like JT Realmuto making the final out over at third. This guy's been around baseball for 1 billion years. He's one of your pros pro. He's one of your guys that has so much knowledge. Rojas just got benched. Forget what Rob Thompson said in the pregame, postgame. Oh, nah, he's sore, this and that. Shut up. He's not sore. He played the next day when you put him in as a defensive replacement because Cal Stevenson is doing 3 steps and he's getting turned around, danced around, he's falling apart, ball's hitting the wall, hitting his glove, he can't make a catch. You were getting boned and screwed with Cal Stevenson out there, so you put Rojas in the game and he makes a spectacular elite catch into the wall. But my point is, when Rojas just a couple days ago gets his ass benched when he's actually been playing pretty decent baseball, how do you do that, JT? How do you make the out over at third, JT? Maybe you win this game if you don't do that, JT. And what makes Rob Thompson tick the most is he's angry that he feels that someone was blocking the bag. Blocking the bag? How about your team's dumb? How about your team's stupid? Your team is not smart. That stuff aggravates me.